Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment, your YouTube channel dedicated to helping you get better at Bannerlord through the use of advanced tactics. Today again we have another one of our Freestyle series. These series are largely shot live where I'm just sort of narrating on the go, and we encounter unique and interesting battles that I think it's worthwhile showing you some interesting tactics to try in those situations.
Alright friends, welcome back to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. I just had to throw my cat from my computer desk because he's getting a little frisky. He wants some love this morning, but instead we're going to infuse some hate here into our foe today, the Asurai. Welcome back again to Tactical Enlightenment, your YouTube channel dedicated to helping you get better at Bannerlord through the use of tactics and field command. I happened upon this Asurai force that was marching north to siege our very small kingdom. At this stage we are very much hemmed into a small corner of the map, and I am roaming around with the remnants of our elite army. I say the remnants because I left 3 companion armies back in the homeland, and even though they wanted to attack us here, evidently the computer AI thinks they can win here. We attacked them. Or at least we were happy to engage them. So I see the enemy off way in the distance there, and I see I have some elevation and some nice ridges to play with to make this battle a go. The Asurai are one of my most hated opponents in this game. They've ended up killing quite a few of our companions. I even experienced the loss of a couple of my early wives to them. A couple of my early wives, I would say, because they were killed in battle, and we always seek revenge. I may actually get into a stage of my campaign where, just for fun, just to make it a little more bloody and dramatic, I might start executing the Asurai after battles. As again, you can see we're outnumbered about 2.5 or 2 to 1 rather here. As again, they remain one of my biggest foes here. So defensively, I'm looking at this setup here, and I say defensively because usually you can count on the Asurai to attack you. If that's the case, you can set up nasty traps. In this case, I'm going to position archers and crossbow at the back wall here. There's this little dip, which some people might look at and say, isn't that a weakness, right? The enemy's going to be coming down, shooting at you. Well, the answer is no, because they're not going to be able to get their archers over this ridge. We will deny them that by putting infantry. I've got a cav division on the left there. That's the 3rd cav there in shield wall. And we will attack them if they get anywhere close to this ridge. So I'm kind of making, again, sort of Hannibal's formation here, the ending formation, so to speak. It's a C formation. We're creating a little bit of a hollow middle, although I will bring troops up at the start to present a strong front to the enemy and kind of lure them into the center. Once they're in the center, hopefully I can use a combination of cavalry divisions and infantry divisions combined with nasty javelin and ammunition attacks to really annihilate the enemy. On the left flank here, I'm positioning my heavy infantry and shield wall, protecting the 4th Corps. I've started to adapt my archer groups a little bit more. We've got some horse archers here to deal with. I've started adapting my 4th Corps a little bit more. My 4th archers, I used to run identical archer divisions. I'm now improving, again, we're fine-tuning the army. The 4th Corps now is primarily crossbow. So this is your sword sister. Well, they're pouring in already with their infantry. So the 4th, anyways, is mostly your crossbow types with shields, whereas your 5th tends to be more traditional archers. These idiots here with a lot of hubris are going to get mown down on their way in. So the 1st division over there is guarding what is effectively now our crossbow division. There might be a few archers mixed in, but it's mostly guys with shields. And critically, what that allows us to do is it allows us to use them in different ways. You're not going to use your traditional archers in a shield wall, but if they have shields, you can. And hence, we're using our 4th archers, 4th crossbowmen, I'll try to get into a habit of saying, as a new defensive rank. These guys charging in here 5 at a time, they might as well try to siege hell. These guys are going to get, they're up now face to face with my 8th Corps, 6th Corps skirmishers. They don't have a chance. But the enemy does have a huge fucking tranche of their vanguard. Palace guards and all kinds of nasty guys. And we're going to effectively create a kill box here, kite them into the middle. I'm moving the 6th Corps back here. I got to try to get these guys off of the 6th Corps. And we're going to use our cavalry division, our 2nd Cav division, kind of as a distractionary force here, sort of trying to make them jostle back and forth while you see the lethal bow shot. They're getting shot by Bacanian Fiend Champs. On the left, they're getting hit. Flying horse, they're getting hit by crossbow, and what I'm eventually planning on doing now is dragging these cav divisions in behind the enemy. So the 3rd I just called to me. You can see him coming towards me from over on the left. I have my 6th, 8th, and 5th archers over here. On the left flank, I have my 1st infantry with crossbow. I probably won't attack with crossbow, but our 2nd and 3rd cav that are now coming behind the enemy, we're going to have them attack. And it's a huge force of Aserai, but we're going to attack with all these groups at the same time, and I will join my men for morale in the trenches here. So it's a 5 or 6 winged attack with projectiles. You see the arrows are absolutely eviscerating everything, and this makes it difficult for the enemy to attack because they have to hold their shields up. Look how many guys are just holding their shield up, and so we're going to come in on this huge force and just try to attack it from 4 different directions, because you can't attack from 5 different directions. We're not able to attack from the air here. So the 6th and 8th Corps is waylaying them over there. I'm kind of using my pole arm here before we wade into battle. I typically have learned to be a little bit more defensive when you're attacking this kind of a vanguard, because as the commander, of course, I can't get 3/4 of my health knocked out in the very first battle, the very first wave, so to speak. Oh, I keep thinking that guy's mine. I got a few palace guards in my own army, and I have the little icon light turned way down. I do that for effect, so you don't see this stupid glowing orb over all the troops. You might as well have cartoon figures on the screen. To me, it really reduces some of the immersion. So now that infantry vanguard was immolated, I mean, that was annihilated right there. We are going to now clean up their archer tranche. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but these guys weren't really shooting us in that fight. So we're going to carve them through. I've got the 2nd, 3rd, and 8th. All those divisions have cav units. They are attacking and they're going to disperse these archers. And we are already going to prepare for this next Aserai wave. I've got my archers, my 4th, 5th, and 6th moving up with me, and we'll position infantry and skirmishers in front of them here. Here, I don't have to use that advanced tactics. We may do a little flanking, but look at this beautiful elevational advantage we have, right? We can fire arrows downfield, and the enemy has to approach us into just a withering fire attack from these archers. I'm positioning my crossbowmen a little bit ahead. In fact, I'm positioning them at the same vertical line towards the enemy as the infantry. And that might seem strange to you, but what we'll do, especially in future battles where it looks like it's going to be multiple waves of elite troops, is once they're out of arrows, we will use them defensively. We will use them either in shield wall, or we will even use them in squares to bait the enemy and then pound the enemy with our other offensive forces, our shock troops, etc. Your crossbowmen, once they're out of arrows, are actually quite valuable. Of course, most of our crossbow are tier 4, tier 5, so we're talking like sharpshooters and those giant fucking Pavis shields. Here I'm just distracting the enemy with our cavalry, while the rest of our troops, as you can see, pound them with arrows, throw javelins in their neck. Those guys up there are having a blast because they're 100 yards away from the enemy. They're unmolested, and they can just fire away. So I'm setting up my 3rd Cav Corps on the far left side there. You'll forgive me, sometimes the action is too fast and furious to explain everything. My 6th and 8th are over here with me, and I'm going to run the 2nd Cav and 7th Cav. That's heavy Cav and a horse archer division back and forth here as the enemy approaches before we make our melee attack. What we're doing is trying to disrupt their lines, turn some of their guys that have shields around, and then basically confuse their big division here. Look how stretched out it is. It's kind of a big mess. What we want is basically then to come in piecemeal instead of as a tight block, right? If the Romans were coming in with their phalanx, that was the Greek phalanx, but if the Romans were coming in with their legions, shield to shield, what you'd want is somehow, some way to try to break up their unit cohesion. And that's, look at how badly these guys are broken up. They're coming in, these guys basically look like a totally undisciplined army of barbarians, and we're going to treat them as such and cut them down. So now I'm attacking offensively with the 1st, 6th, 8th, 2nd, and 3rd Division, right? So we've gone from defense to offense. The enemy's in a pretty vulnerable position here. They're stretched out, and we're basically just going to clean up the mess. They're already reforming. This group got ripped apart so bad, both at the approach and by that attack, that they are already heading back to their mates to try to make another sally at this. Right? They'll grab some reinforcements, and maybe they won't come back. That was such a couple ass whoopings there. I saw a few streaks of red on the screen. There was a few times, of course, when their vanguard attacked where we took a bit of a beating, but that was 2 consecutive utter massacres for the enemy here. And of course their morale is decreasing on the way out because they're being shot in the back. It's a very bad situation. Look how far they're reforming. I can't help but wondering if this is a rout at this stage. I'm getting better and better, of course. These guys, that looks like they're routing. We'll see. They may form a defensive line here. You just never know. We're going to bring our troops up. These are enemy cav, so these guys are kind of holding on. So we'll make a concerted attack against their elite cav. What I'm going to do here is distract them with my 3rd cav, and then we'll attack them from the sides with our 2nd and 7th. It reminds me of a Civil War battle, though, the routing. There was a Union force attacking Confederates. The Union general is inept. He's basically a fucking dipshit, a political general. And they tried to attack Confederates in a location where their intel information was very poor. Right? This is a critical part of war, is reconnaissance. You must know where the enemy is and what they're doing, what their forces are. Well, this fucking guy, I think his name was like Stone. I think it's actually called the Battle of... No, actually, I can't remember what the battle is called. But anyways, this fucking general, they came in. I think it was a guy named Porter. They came in, and they were totally unprepared to fight the Confederates. Once they realized they were being ambushed and massacred, he had his troops rout. He didn't tell them to... he didn't tell them to fall back. He didn't tell them to, form a rear guard. They routed, which is not something a commander is supposed to tell their troops. They basically fled the scene, and they got shot in the back by the dozens on the way down from the battlefield, running down to the river. Many of them were shot in the back. Many of them drowned in the river. It was a very ugly battle, and this kind of reminds me of that. All these troops sort of running, and we're just like massacring them as they run down the hill. I don't know if I saw. I couldn't tell if it said victory, the battle is over, but we're just going to reposition our troops there. I still see the Aserai setting up troops. We've got a little defensive line over there. I like to make basically a skein out of cav shield wall in some battles like this because it prevents the enemy from being able to charge. It does seem like they're trying to reform, but this is... I mean, I see troops down there gathering. It really does feel like that Civil War battle I was telling you, though, where the enemy is just so demoralized. They're just given the order just to flat out rout. Just leave the battlefield. We don't know what we're doing. The foe we're facing is ferocious. We're fucking out of here. Those cavalry are not... That's routing. They're routing. Battle's over. That was a massacre. That was a morale destruction right there. Of course, we killed a lot of their troops, but this victory was through utter morale destruction. I don't know how many we killed. I'll look here in a second, but 900. Yeah, see, they had over 2,000, so more than half of their troops just flat out left the battlefield. This guy's bracing. What is this shit? I guess they got some Japanese style. That guy mowed down one of our heroes. Look at they're in couch lance. Get out of here. So evidently those guys had a little bit of look at this fucking guy. They had a little bit of sort of Japanese style approach at the end. We don't surrender. We fight to the death. Well, we'll happily kill you. But ultimately, this was a massacre. Now, hopefully, you learned a few things out of this battle. I'm going to continue to post videos like this with ferocious tactics. Of course, there's too many tactics in this battlefield just to list. But if you stick tuned with our channel, I'm sure I can teach you a few things about how to get better at Bannerlord. Please subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate you fellas a ton, and I'll see you guys next time.